Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. For today's tutorial, I'll show you how to crochet the herringbone single crochet stitch. This is the front of the pattern and this is the back. Let's get started. To crochet the herringbone single crochet stitch, you're going to start with any number of stitches you like plus 1. For this tutorial, I'll chain 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Into the second chain from the hook, you're going to make a single crochet. Now the first stitch is going to be different from the others, where in the first stitch you have only 2 loops. You're going to insert your hook under the left loop. And then you're going to insert your hook into the next chain, pull up a loop, and I like to pull it a little bit because that makes it easy to insert the hook underneath the stitch. And you're going to pull through all 3 loops. Now in this stitch and going forward, you're going to have 3 loops, 1, 2, 3, and into the third loop, which is the left loop, you're going to insert your hook under that loop. So you're going to insert your hook under that loop, and into the next chain you're going to pull up a loop, and then you're going to pull through all 3 loops. Okay, on the left loop, into the next chain, grab your loop, pull through all 3 loops. Okay, under the left loop, into the next chain, grab your yarn and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, we'll do that one more time. Under the left loop, into the next chain, grab your yarn and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, you're going to continue that and I'll meet you at the end of the row. At the end of the row, we're just going to make our last herringbone stitch, going on the left loop and into the chain and completing it. This is our first row of herringbone stitch. For row 2, we're going to chain 1 and turn, and into the very first stitch we're going to make a backward single crochet like this. We're going to insert our hook from the right side into the stitch. We're going to grab our yarn and we're going to rotate the hook to do this, and we're going to pull it through that first stitch, and then we're going to wrap the hook and finish the single crochet stitch as normal. Okay, and I'm going to put this down so you can have a look. In row 1, when we made our first single crochet stitch, we had 2 loops on the hook. We will be working on the second loop, which is a loop on the left, and into the next stitch, and that will be the start of every row. So we're going to insert our hook into the left loop, and then we're going to insert our hook into the stitch. We're going to grab our yarn and we're going to pull through that same stitch. Now we have 3 loops on our hook, and that is our first herringbone stitch of the second row. I'm going to put this down again. So now going forward, we'll have 3 loops on our hook. 1, 2, 3. We'll be working under the third loop, which is a loop on the left. So we're going to insert our hook under the third loop and into the next stitch. We're going to grab the yarn and pull through the stitch and pull through all 3 loops. I'm going to put it down one more time. 3 loops, 1, 2, 3. We're going to be inserting our hook under the third loop, which is a loop on the left, and into the next stitch. So we're working from the right side to the wrong side. So we're going to insert our hook under the stitch, under the loop, and into the next stitch. Grab the yarn and rotate our hook to do this, and we're going to pull it through. Now we have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to pull through all 3 loops. The more you do this, the more you get the hang of it. Okay, so let's do that one more time. 3 loops into the 3rd loop, which is the left loop. We're going to insert our hook and into the next stitch. So we're going to insert our hook under the loop and into the next stitch, grabbing our yarn and pulling through that stitch. Pull up on the loops because that makes it easier. Less tension makes it easier for you to insert your hook underneath the loop. And you're going to grab the yarn and pull through all 3 loops. And that is how you're going to be working the stitch until the end of the row. So underneath the left loop, into the next stitch, grabbing the yarn and pulling through all 3 loops. And we're going to do this all the way to the end of the row. And work as slowly as you can until you get the hang of it. And into the last stitch, you're just going to make your last herringbone stitch, just like you did in row 1. And that's the end of row 2. You're going to chain 1, and that is what it looks like on the front side. And we're just going to repeat row 1 by making a single crochet into the first stitch, working under the left loop, and into the next stitch you're going to grab the yarn, pulling through all 3 loops, working into the next loop, under the next loop, and into the next stitch, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. And you're going to work this way all the way to the end of the row. Go ahead and finish your stitch, and I will meet you at the end of the row, and we're going to do one more row of row 2 before I finish. And at the end of the row, we're going to make our last herringbone stitch by working under the loop and into that very last stitch. Pull through all 3 loops. For row 4, we're just going to chain 1, and row 4 is just a repeat of row 2. So we're going to start by making a backward single crochet into the first stitch, just as we've done before. You're going to insert the hook from the right side into the stitch. We're going to grab the yarn and pull it through the stitch, and we're going to finish our single crochet stitch like normal. And just like in row 2, at the start of the row we have those 2 loops. We're going to insert our hook underneath the left loop and into the next stitch. So under the left loop and into the next stitch. Grab that yarn and pull the yarn through the stitch, pull up on the loops, and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. And set it down again. Going forward now, we have those 3 loops just like we did in row 2. We're going to work under the 3rd loop, which is the loop on the left, and into the next stitch. So insert your hook under the loop and into the next stitch, grabbing the yarn and pulling through the stitch, pull up on the loops and pull through all 3 loops. We're going to do that all the way to the end of the row. Under the left loop to the next stitch, grabbing the yarn by rotating the hook. Let's do that again. Under the left loop, through the next stitch, grabbing the yarn, pull through the stitch. You have the 3 loops on your hook and pull through all 3 loops. Inserting under the left loop into the next stitch, grabbing the yarn, pull through, and pull through all 3 loops. We're going to continue that all the way to the end of the row, and I'll meet you at the end. At the end of the row, you're going to have the 1 stitch left. You're just going to make your last herringbone single crochet by going into the left loop, just like you've been doing before, into the stitch, grabbing the yarn and pulling through the stitch and pulling through all 3 loops. You're going to chain 1 and turn, and you're going to repeat rows 1 and 2 for as many rows as you need. Thank you for visiting Hooked and Smithen. Please like and subscribe for more video tutorials.